Take your enjoyment of Smodco podcast to the next level by checking out a live Smodco show. Mike and Ming are at PopCon April 15th and 16th in Evansville, Indiana. Monday, April 18th, Charlotte, North Carolina gets Kevin for 2 shows. April 19th, Kev performs twice in Richmond, Virginia. An evening with Kevin Smith in Atlanta on April 20th. Austin, get ready for Kevin Smith's solo at the Moon Tower Comedy and Oddity Fest, April 22nd. April 22nd through 24th, Muse hits Motor City Nightmares. Jay and Silent Bob get old in Austin on April 23rd. Jersey reunites with Kev in Atlantic City on April 30th. Tickets to these and all Smodco shows are available now at smodcast.com.
So what are you boys doing on July 15th?
I don't know.
No plans?
Maybe just going to be hanging out at the Gramercy Theater.
Where all the cool people will be.
Yes, a live Tell 'em Steve Dave at the Gramercy Theater, July 15th, 7 p.m.
And it's not a Space Monkeys. It's a full-on Tell 'em Steve Dave action, right, Walt?
Yeah.
You're hyped.
Yes.
You're fucking stoked, motherfucker.
The one in, where's the other one at?
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We needed the announcement of special guests. We're going no special guests, so.
Are we really?
Well, I mean, unless we have to.
Shit.
I already know that.
I'm sure the unnamed special guest is what cinched it for a lot of people.
I think you're being sarcastic or being real. I think it meant a lot.
Unless people are like, oh, well, is a special guest Kevin? Tickets are non-refundable, motherfuckers.
People know by now when we say special guests, it's going to be a letdown.
Kevin
right?
won't come.
Yeah, it's not Kevin Smith.
There's no special guest. It's just
Get
a
him,
guest.
Steve Dave.
Don't reveal both of them. Don't reveal both of them. If you're going to reveal and let the cat in the bag would get him going, then.
Oh, I didn't. I was just
Then
saying. I
you've
was
already
just rattling
eliminated
down.
25% of the potential.
I can say this: Ghost Pussy cannot be there on July 15th. He already told me that.
Oh, we shouldn't have said that now when we're trying to sell tickets.
I know. People are like, fuck it, man. Just fuck it. Why? What's Ghost Pussy up to?
I didn't ask.
Suddenly he has a life?
Didn't want to get into it. Well, he's a wife and a daughter, so yeah.
Where do you go to buy them at?
They're on Ticketmaster.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, I never. Ticketmaster.
Yes.
Like the real deal. This ain't like no fly by night. This is real.
They're charging their fees. They're fucking making money off
These are
that.
a lot.
Yeah,
they
the fees are a lot, man. Ticketmaster.
Yeah. Anyway, tell them Steve Dave. July 15th, 7 p.m. Gramercy Theater, Manhattan.
Manhattan, man. The hub of where it's all happening.
Manhattan.
Yeah, come grab a drink.
Yeah.
Oh, there's alcohol being served there?
I'm sure, yeah.
We got to cut it out?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll put it, depending on how fast it sells, we'll be like, we'll change our minds. We want all of the gate and 50% of the booze.
How much are the tickets?
I don't know.
For our
Like
listeners.
$30 or something?
Yeah?
Maybe, yeah.
Good, that's fair.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah, not bad, right? There's 3 of us. $10 each.
All right. Gramercy, July 15th. What else you doing? It's summertime, man. It's time to fucking party, right, Q?
Yeah, right.
Crossing guards have the biggest fucking ego because
There's an arrogance.
there is an arrogance about them.
You know, hookers and blow. Fuck you, hookers and blow.
Tell him, Steve Dave.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Tell 'em Steve Dave. I look around this table. I see TV stars. I see movie stars. I see artists. I see writers. I see rock stars. All of young Hollywood is represented at this table tonight. Me, Walt, Q,
The 4 over 40.
and Dave Windorf, Monster Magnet. Yes.
Gentlemen,
Not gonna lie, my favorite Tell 'em Steve Dave guest.
Yes.
Consistently brings a game every time. I was very excited when I heard you were going to be here.
Oh, it's my
Thank
pleasure.
you for being here.
My pleasure.
So what do we start with? My first question I wanted to ask Dave, actually, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. In the mid-'80s when, say, Poison was at their height, 80 to like 90, everybody started going glam, like even Dokken.
It was the thing. Yeah, that was it.
Even Dokken? Why Dokken wasn't glam?
No, Dokken
When they
wasn't
started
really
out?
glam when they started out, no. And I mean, like, George Lynch getting a poofy hairdo and
Everybody
shit.
started fitting into like uncomfortably tight pants and wearing a little eyeliner. It was the
spandex.
thing.
A lot of cheetah print.
Right.
Yeah.
And did Monster Magnet ever say like, maybe we should poof it up and get some cheetah print?
I mean, I wasn't there. I wasn't Monster Man yet, but I was in a band called Shrapnel, which was like a punk band. And by that time, all that stuff happened. I was probably out of a band for about like 5 or 6 years, but I watched it joyfully and laughing the whole time because I thought it was really funny.
It was pretty corny and depressing. When you see bands that you like, suddenly it's like, wait a second, they replace them with girls?
Yeah, I mean, show business is brutal, man. When you see people, when a big shift comes in a taste change and there's like a next big thing and people have to conform to it, it's always like a riot to watch people try to fit into it. It's like when disco came and Kiss did the disco song, it was like, oh, man. Really?
How'd you feel about the Kiss disco, the Kissco?
I was too young to feel betrayed. I was too young. I was too young.
That's my earliest memory.
I felt like a new album was coming out, Dynasty. I was super stoked for it, and I didn't care that the older kids were laughing. As I proudly walked to school in my Dynasty T-shirt. I couldn't figure out why they were, because a couple years ago, they all those older kids were into the Kiss army, and then all of a sudden they turned on Kiss.
Yeah.
And not me.
Did you realize they had gone disco?
I didn't. I to be honest, I couldn't tell you why it was a disco album. I still can't. I don't. What was it? A certain beat of it that was disco? Like I Was Made for Loving You.
Yeah, it was a
disco
single.
song.
It was a single.
But what was it that made it?
Loving You? That one? Yeah. So it was the 4 on the floor. It was
made for loving you.
That's got to be the
Sounds a
most
little
rockin'
PG-ish.
disco song, right? Would you say it's the most rockin' disco
Kiss
song?
doing a disco song.
He wants to
Kiss.
convince himself his kids were wrong to laugh at him.
And I don't know how far we should continue the conversation. It's like, if you're not going to get it, I can't help you get it.
I wasn't that well versed in
disco song, dude.
in music though. So I still heard Paul's voice. I still heard guitars and drums.
Yeah, you're a kid. You don't
Yeah,
know.
but even now, I still don't. When I hear it come on,
Disco's not dead. Not this house, goddammit.
in that era, if you were a band in that era, if you did have a band in that era, do you think you would have felt the urge to go that way, or would you?
At that age, if I had a feel for it, yeah. But it's like, if I didn't have a feel for it, I don't think I'd do it, because I'd probably do it badly. Everyone's got their breaking point. You can see people, like some people did it really horribly, and other people, just like failed miserably at it. I mean, the guy I remember is Rod Stewart. Like, Rod Stewart was a well-respected, like, actual really fine vocalist guy, and he just went disco, and it was like, what the hell? But at the same time, he sold more records than he ever did, because he latched onto a trend that made it big. So in the end,
Had a
What do
pretty
you
short
understand?
lifespan, though, right? Disco.
Really
I
short.
mean, they were. Wasn't it Yankee Stadium? They were burning albums and shit.
Like
Yeah, but that was-
Comiskey Park.
Comiskey Park.
that was part of the craze, though. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That was part of it. It was actually good for disco. That kind of controversy is always good. But yeah, I mean, in its fullness, I think it lasted 3 or 4 years.
Really?
That's a pretty short
Yeah.
run. Maybe the same as grunge, though, right? Grunge didn't last.
Nothing
too long.
lasts for that long. If you look at all these musical trends, they only last 3 or 4 years. And then, they don't die
Except
completely.
for rap. I feel like rap. I remember in the early 90s thinking,
That's a really good point.
"Oh, this will not last that long. It's like anything else." And here we are, like
Well, it's
25
cheap.
years later.
It's cheap
evolved.
It's cheap to put
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It's evolved. It's got more center.
Some would say devolved, Q.
Yeah, like Walt.
Wasn't the thing about rap like you don't have to learn to play an instrument You know what I mean?
Like, no instruments involved at all.
Right. I mean, I'm not discounting it as because I like a lot of rap actually, but you don't have to.
So I'm not going to say default.
I won't agree with Walt.
I said some would say, not me.
No, it's cheap to produce,
right?
And it's cheap to produce, and it totally fits with the modern kid mentality, which is like.
I barely have to do anything.
Well, yeah, and kind of that, and plus it's like more of a. I mean, it started out like all badass, and crazy, and then as it moved into the pop thing, it became perfectly obvious that it fit in with this kind of a modern kid thing, where kids don't want too much poetry; they want stories, and they want a jam that kind of says the stuff that they're thinking, but they don't want to put too much thought into it. There's not much thought put into modern hip hop. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like it's cutting edge or anything. It's just like little stories about,
Yeah, 90s hip hop was a little different, right?
It started off pretty badass, actually. And, and it scared the straights, Scared.
I wasn't scared of disco. That's for sure.
I remember Walt sat in all summer listening to Dynasty. You want to come out of the house?
I listened to the Elder.
What's Rod Stewart up to lately? I don't like this PE.
Yeah, I gotta be scared. I've got a fear of a black planet.
I don't even know what hip hop is anymore. I mean, there is, I guess, real hip hop, but you don't hear it anywhere. And if people buy middle of the road pop, pop rules, man, pop. Synthesis of hip hop and like Swedish melodies. I just read this great book called The Song Machine. And The Song Machine, it's a really, really great story. It kind of puts everything, collection of articles from different things that I've been reading over the years about how the top 10 and the top 50 is written by basically 5 or 6 groups of people. Every song. It's not by the artist, of course. It's by these producer guys. And they'll take a track, and they have a thing called track and hook, where they'll put together a song. It's not really a song yet. They'll take a beat. It's all sampled, they'll sample stuff. Mm-hmm. There's no musicians. You do it on a laptop. And you put it together, and you have a nice beat, and you maybe put a synthesizer on top of it. Maybe that's an instrument. Do a chord, do a chorus and a verse. They'll listen to what's happening on the radio and go, I'll take this and change it a little bit because it's a hit. So copy the hit. And then they send it out to a demo singer, somebody they could pay cheaply. Most of the time girls, because they sing better. And they'll pay the girl whatever, $500 to go, and they'll go just hoot and holler over the whole thing. There's no lyrics or anything. Just hoot and holler over it at home on your laptop and your setup and your Zoom, and go, oh, yeah, baby, like pretend you're on American Idol and you're just doing all that stupid shit.
Right.
Then they get that back. They pay her the $500 and then they cut that up in Pro Tools and go, oh, that sounds good. Boom. They cut it up like little masters and go, put it all in its place to make it sound like someone's singing, and someone is singing a vocal. There's no words. Then they kind of formulate what the song is going to sound like and a good direction for the song, just with all these monkey noises. Then they'll go, all right, we haven't titled this song yet, but where's the client list? And then they'll go to what would be Clive Davis for a long time, or at Arista, or any of these big guys who go, all right, we got the next hit. Who wants it? Well, Rihanna says she wants it. All right, well, we'll see. Well, Britney says she wants it. I don't know. Then they'll make a deal with that, and then they'll send the song to Rihanna, and Rihanna will go like, it's my song. Okay, what do you want to call it, Rihanna? I don't know. Okay, we'll come up with it. If she's got a title, she'll title it. If she wants to write the words, she'll write the words, but not often they don't. Somebody else will write the words. So the thing is set up cookie cutter fashion and ready to rock. I mean, just, it's pretty much ready to go. There's not a lot of studio time because the sounds are all there and these producer guys got it. So it's a lot less like Tin Pan Alley was in the 1940s and 50s, where it used to be like 1 or 2 guys at a piano and they just get the vocalist in. It's an amazing book, and it just shows you, it totally explains why everything sounds the same.
Wow.
Because they want it to sound the same, because the kids love it.
Right.
And it's produced. The sound of it.
It sounds soulless, though.
Modern pop. is the most in-your-face sound you're ever going to hear. It completely blows everything away. It's all digital. It's all dig compression. It's in your face. There's no difference between it and like a high-tech TV commercial. And that's why it works, because it sounds like a TV commercial. But it only works with this generation, because any generation before it goes, I don't want my music to sound like a TV commercial. But the modern kids, they love it.
What a bunch of douchebags.
Well, youth is wasted on the young. You know? I'm all up at the bass, no trouble. I'm all up at the bass.
It's
A,
weird,
B,
like-
C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K.
Something like
Jerk
that
off.
is like, it'll get like 400 million views.
400
in
million.
In like 2 months, and then nobody gives a fuck about it.
Well,
after
that's
that. Until like another 10 years when it's like, oh, remember that song? And then it's nostalgic.
yeah. Everything's got its little cycles and stuff. It's interesting to watch. I'll listen to that. I'll listen to like pop radio for like a month and gorge myself on it. It's fucking, I'm like, I can't believe these sounds. And then one day I'll just stick my finger down my throat and puke. And then I'll listen to it for like a year. It's like eating too many Doritos. Like, I can't stop. I can't stop. I could stop.
I wouldn't even know what radio station to listen to anymore.
My kids always have Z100 on
Yeah,
when
that's what
I
I
go into the car and I immediately change it. But when
Turn this disco shit off, Dad. Cool kids are back.
but Z100 I think is the station that still
the station,
plays
huh?
And 90,
current
and,
stuff.
and 93.2, whatever that is. That's the other one.
They air Z100 on satellite now. Like it's one of
Is
those.
it still like, hey, baby, it's the morning show. Ding dong.
It'll always be that. It'll always be that. That is like that morning zoo is still like one of the most popular radio programs in the United States.
It's amazing, isn't it? There are people out there's
Just
a
Elvis
lot
Duran,
of
he just
people.
doesn't stop. He just keeps going.
Even with the increased ads and everything, people put up with it. You know how much ads are on those things? It's all ads. Blah, 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 blah. And they've gotten even faster. It's like, wow, people are glutton for punishment. The same thing with the classic rock radio, and you see it's like, who listens to this? Carpenters, that's who. Guys that work on the lawn.
That is so true. Like when I have people working on my house and they put their radio on, and it's the same 4 songs. It seems like.
Oh man,
Hotel California.
I can't wait.
Leonard Skinner.
I hear
I thought you were going to say
I want to hear
Macarena.
Us and Them by Pink Floyd a million times.
But like, how come they are so reluctant to play a deeper cut?
Because the
Carpenters aren't going to be like,
Don't
turn it
even-
off and go somewhere else. They'll
Don't even
accept
get me
the deeper
started.
cut.
These guys single-handedly sold out the biggest rock renaissance, the biggest music renaissance in our lifetime or anybody's lifetime since the classical music days. And they've distilled an entire innovative era down to about 20 songs. Congratulations, guys. It's like somebody went to the Pieta and just chopped everything off until there was a fingernail and said, I've got the Pieta. I mean, you know, just on your playlist alone, how you could like rock people on a radio station for a week and probably fry people's brains.
Thank you.
No. Fry
think you
people,
overestimate.
you could fry people.
But like
Walt's got good taste.
oh,
know.
thank you.
Well, that's because you know he loves magnets.
No. I walked right into it.
No, but like when we put like Mike puts on one like if I get here late and he puts on like what he thinks that I would prefer to listen to like an old like classic rock, and it's the same songs over and over again. It's absolutely maddening that I don't understand why radio stations are reluctant.
What am I, a carpenter? You cocksucker! Turn the channel.
No disrespect.
See a hammer in my hand, you fucking bitch.
Like, why can't you play a deeper cut from like a Doors song or like an album, something
man.
else than
Two
Light
for
My
two-
Fire?
2 for Tuesday, for God's sake. And like, what is up with Alice Cooper? How did he get the bum's rush on classic rock radio? They don't play Alice Cooper as much as they play Skinnerd.
Well, I mean, they'll play "School's Out." You got to be fair. They'll play that, and I want to just like blow my head off because there's like a million other songs you could play. But there has to be like there must be some sort of
No, suicide is an alternative to changing the channel.
rules set in place where
Lead out. Never heard.
a DJ is not allowed to play a deep cut. Like he can't play "My Stars" from Alice Cooper,
I've been
right?
up there, dude. I've been up there, and I went up there recently. I can't believe I was actually in classic rock, but I went up there and did an interview. And actually asked the guy, an old hair farmer from way back, been a DJ forever, and I was like, what is up? You you know what's out there. You know this. I get passionate about it because like I said, that was a musical renaissance. 65 to 75, there was more great music, more interesting, diverse music than ever in the history of all rock and roll. And these guys play a tenth of it. And he goes, advertisers, man. And he goes, we want to make money. And, people tend to wander. They want their memories intact. And when they turn on that radio, they want to go back to their glory days. And that means million sellers only. So
That's
fuck
crazy.
you and your renaissance.
two things about that. I started about 2 years ago. I started getting into like vinyl. I bought like a nice turntable and stuff like that.
That's fun.
And that brought me back into listening to albums in their entirety, which I had for a decade lost. Like I got on my iPod, I put the songs I liked on, and I would just listen to that playlist again. And it was a real, almost rediscovery of artists that I loved, the musics that I loved, of the deep cuts, of songs that I haven't heard in 5 years. And now it's really the way I prefer to listen to music. It's just like an album in its entirety.
Yeah, and you probably go looking for good albums as opposed to like, all right, I know these good songs, but what's a good album? I want to know what a good album is because I want to put in and albums were short back then. They were like 35 minutes. It's not like, you get a CD now. It's like an hour. Like 35 minutes was the tops you could fit on vinyl. And so these guys could actually sequence like an overture, like the first song and the first song on the first side, last song on the first side, and then, the re-intro on the second. It was a big deal. I mean, those guys busted their balls. And when it's good, it's totally worth your 35 minutes worth of time.
Yeah.
It's like, this is really cool. It's like a movie of the mind. Very cool.
The other thing is because now I like satellite radio, man. I love it. I got it free with my car. What a great scam.
Yeah.
They give it a year for free, and then you're like, oh, all right, well, now I'm just going to pay the $200 for the rest of the year.
How many stations do you find yourself exploring?
this
Because
is-
I had it too, and I found myself being on 5 stations. That was it. I never explored anything else.
I'll flip around, but I'll do Tom Petty, right? So I'll listen to him all the time. I'll do Hair Nation. I'll do Backspin.
Ozzy's Boneyard?
80s. Ozzy's Boneyard we were listening to today. But Elvis, the Elvis channel is probably the one I listen to the most. They play deep tracks because they just have all the time. They don't really have advertisers. They could just, they're like, you're a fan of Tom Petty?
It's the way it should
Here's
be
all the
done.
fucking Tom Petty you could stand. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. Like, I dig it.
What is it that makes, from your perspective, the groups implode? Like, is it...
You mean fail commercially or just break up?
No, break up. Because it seems like
because
so
it's
many,
a madhouse. How can you expect like 4 young people to get along together for more than like 3 years? It's
Is it,
Or middle-aged people.
yeah, yeah.
Is it just a combination of ego, drugs, alcohol, nothing, going from nothing to, say something like Guns N' Roses, from where they're sleeping on the floor and shooting junk to like, holy shit, we just sold the biggest debut album of all
Yeah,
time.
I mean, as far as I know about Guns N' Roses, it's a classic. Like, what happens when you give White Trash $24 million?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I just got tickets for their Philly show.
For the longest time, rock and roll wasn't pro. You know what I mean? Bands aren't like professional people. They're guys that kind of make it up, and they have this thing that goes on, and this is why bands are great, important, that they work together in a way that when they're together, the sound that comes out or the experience that comes out is something special. And it's like, God forbid you change one of the guys or it won't be special. So the pros that are involved in it, say the record companies, will make allowances for their craziness, and they kind of carry this very fragile relationship along to make the money. And then the bands inevitably break up because they really probably weren't quite sure what made it all work in the first place. It was just this kind of magic or whatever. And sometimes it ain't magic, but oftentimes it was back then. And it's like, hey man, whatever you say about Guns N' Roses, like when they played live, I saw them back, this is great. This is the real deal. And it's not just because of the songs, it's because of the way they played together. But then you look at those guys and you go, there's no way on earth that you can go, these guys are going to go for 250 shows at a clip.
Right.
And live
Like Axl
together,
Rose
a
couldn't even
tour
do
on
two
a
in a
bus,
row.
and just, get in this pressure cooker and still be the same people when they come out the other end. It's part of the beauty of it.
Do you think it's partially because like creative people disproportionately are mentally ill?
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're creative, but they're in a world of, they're artists, but they're in a world of commercial art. Make no mistake. Music business is commercial art, but they want to be treated as artistes. And they probably started out, and some guys they go the cheesy route and they realize it and they hack it out, and the other guys don't. Always interesting to see how they implode and explode.
I mean, that's a pretty good example of one of the biggest bands that at the time, Axl Rose was fucking just off the rails. Slash had just gotten off heroin, so he kept going with different projects. Adler strokes out, and
right.
then
It's classic rock star, the most classic rock star.
I mean, they really like you said, they were the real deal. They were real rock stars that lived the lifestyle,
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't cookie cutter stuff. It was like a real band. You could feel it. You could, especially when you saw them live, you could feel it. It was like, this is a band on a good night. They're one of those bands that they were always really good, but on a good night they were extremely good. And I think people would follow that to see well, what are the boys going to, what are these guys together? And when the chemistry gets really right, it gets that much better. It wasn't like watching a movie or something, you're going to get the same level of quality, or watching a White Zombie or something where everything's on tape, and it's always going to be that. In the classic rock band push and pull thing, they got good, and it was very special. But also you could see which is another cool thing, you could see all the problems, on stage. You could see it in their eyes. And when you read about the stuff and you read about the heroin and stuff, it was really cool.
I went to a zombie show last year. The thing I liked about it is the horror aspect. It's not just the music. It's an entire
he's a master
production.
showman.
It's fucking unbelievable.
He's a showman. It's more. It's not as much rock as it is theater.
Yeah.
I think he'd probably agree. He goes, I'm theater. This is a theater thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to early White Zombie, it doesn't sound theatrical at all.
No, that was before. That was when it was kind of arty, art noise rock.
Yeah, the first Nirvana album was kind of the same way. It didn't sound as finely tuned and polished as the successive albums.
Yeah, and Rob just got into it. He was he took all the most successful things from industrial and Euro. I got the Euro pop almost at that time, before anybody knew what it was. 4 on the floor, boom, 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 all that kind of stuff.
It's interesting you mention industrial, because 9 Inch Nails is another one of those bands that was boom, here they are for here's Reznor for 3 or 4 years, and then just goes away for the longest time. I always wonder, what are these guys up to? What the fuck are they doing?
Probably
spending
waiting.
Money?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, man. The rock business is weird. People don't want you. It's like you don't go away, but people's attention goes away. So what do you do with that time? You can't control. The rock and roll thing for the longest time, although it's almost completely dead now. But we're talking about the rock system the way it was up until about 10 years ago. New, it's like comic books and like anything else. The people want new, so they can't look at everything at once. So, once 9 Inch Nails could sell 9 million records, but if they go on vacation for a month, it's like, oh, well, what else you got?
Right.
And it seems like they're dead and gone, but probably he's just sitting around with his thumb up his ass waiting for the tide to come back. It plays games with your head,
It's strange, because you won't think of them for the longest time, and then you're like, holy shit, what's Marilyn Manson up to? What's he doing?
Yeah. He's out there. I mean, and what's happening now, though, in the last 10 years, if you see people missing in action, it's probably because they're doing Europe only.
Right. Well, that's what you were saying, that America sort of has... America's not really into the rock thing, but...
They're into their phones, dude.
Yeah. I know. Look at this guy over here. Yeah. He's checking the latest pop charts.
No, you know what? Not to their phones. It's different here now, and it's gonna sweep across the world. It happens.
It's not across the world. This is not the state of every person in overseas.
No. Well, also pretending Mock holding a phone.
Only here. Only.
You're kidding me. I would think that it's spread.
They have them. I mean,
but they're not
had cell
addicted
phones
to
and
them?
stuff before we did. I mean, Sweden is like a completely Wi-Fi free thing. They don't even use money in Sweden. It's everything's dig. They've had them, but they haven't, as far as I could see, haven't done the I'm going to put my phone in my face all day thing.
No.
They have to have them in Asia because I'm constantly seeing videos of Asian people with headphones or looking at their phone getting hit by trains or buses.
Yeah, those guys. I really think the Asian guys are like, that's a total different animal from what I'm talking about. But those guys were into it for a long time, and they do get hit by buses all the time. There's that one guy get vaporized by a train.
Yeah.
And that's an old video.
It's so fucking weird. Like, they just got their headphones on, they're looking down at their phone, and the gate's down. They walk right by the gate, and then boom, just like it's just like a spray of sinew and blood.
He's vaporized. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Walt, you know what? I think also what it is too is like we have better cross the board broadband.
Oh, so you're saying it's a matter of if they could get as good broadband as Americans do, they would be just as
like
zombied out?
Else. Yeah, they would catch. But the broadband is much better here than it is over there, depending on what country you're in. But then again, Sweden has the best broadband in the world, and they don't seem to go at it like
it's like 10
we
times faster than here, Sweden, right? It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's
would it feel any different being 10 times faster? It's pretty fast here.
It really feels fast.
You could download an entire movie in like 2 minutes rather than like a half hour.
You could do stuff in some towns in Sweden on the fly. You can like start downloading a movie on a bus and like walk out of the bus and down a subway tunnel, and the movie will continue to tell.
Why is that though? Why is Sweden so much faster than America? I don't like, huh? Why can't we get as fast as Sweden?
We can. I think it's just a matter of infrastructure. You know, like setting up for the thing. It's like
I'm surprised Americans don't demand that.
They do, and they'll get it. You know.
Speaking of classic rock, man, it's been a rough couple months. We're losing
dying like flies out there.
What'd you think?
It was the bummer. The winter of our discontent. Yeah. Lemmy dies, then David Bowie suddenly dies. Oh, bummer.
And what did you think of that reaction to when Fry died? I thought it was pretty shitty of the internet to go on and like they praised and
to celebrate his death.
Basically, yeah. Like there was some really fucking heinous shit. You know, like
what they were glad that he was dead.
Yeah, they were like he was an ass. Like I hate the Eagles. The music is shit, and he was an asshole. And who cares? Like a lot of like where like Bowie died, and rightfully so. But even the younger crowd, I felt showed some respect that they probably didn't even know. They probably weren't even exposed to his music, and yet for some reason, I think because of the aura. Yeah. They respected it, and even if they didn't like it, or even were cognizant of it.
Bowie had a long reach. He played it cool up until the day he died. He never became the dickhead rock star. He was always an artist, so that probably counts for that. Fry, I don't know. Did he have a reputation for being a prick?
I saw a documentary, and he seemed like I guess he's more like a control and.
Well, the Eagles themselves have a bad reputation for being complete assholes. You know what I mean? I don't see people have a lot of.
But the way that they were slamming the music, I mean, I'm not the biggest Eagles fan, but I can still respect a body of work that's a fucking every song that comes out is like was a popular song.
Wasn't Glenn Frey Dirty Laundry? Wasn't he the one who did that?
Dirty Laundry.
Yeah,
no, Glenn.
No,
he did Beverly Hills Cop. I think he was involved with a solo, but I mean. Glenn Frey, he was, him and Don Henley were the Eagles.
I think Don Henley was,
Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh, yeah, but they took him on later on, though.
Yeah.
But he had I thought, an interesting take on new music is that Joe Walsh, he said that with today's music being that there's no feeling of, like, there's no mistakes. Like it doesn't sound like a human being playing it anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. Everything kind of is zoomy and kind of flatlines in my head, like really quick. It's like that pop stuff. Like I say, you hear it, and it's really good and exact, and it's arresting like a TV commercial. But TV commercials are only 30 seconds. These things are 4 minutes long. I tend to flatline in my head like with no imperfections at all. My mind tends to drift. And I think they're going to find out in the future as people continue to write songs and probably have less and less attention paid to them, going, maybe it's not as easy as we think. Just set it and forget it. Maybe all this auto tune and And cutting stuff to a perfect beat is probably not the right idea. It's better to imitate the perfect beat and get some humanity in it. I mean, I'm for that because I notice the difference. I've done it both ways, and when I zoom it out, I've sat on Pro Tools and cut stuff exact, and I'm like, that's too good. Doesn't sound cool.
Did you think when the coincidence of Bowie dying on the day an album was released could have been the ultimate? Maybe it's not real. Maybe he was faking
no,
his
because
death?
he didn't cash in on it. It's real,
Save this for
dude.
overkill.
It's a real thing. It's like an amazingly real thing.
But the coincidence to do it to release an album wasn't it
3
on the
days
day
after he died.
That's I guess okay. Maybe I thought it was on the
It
day.
will never sell better. Like I
I
remember,
mean,
when Cobain.
No, it could have sold better if they would have leaked that he was dying. You know what I mean? It'd get some, usually when somebody dies, when somebody's going to die, the best way to roll it out is to give them a year to build up anticipation and weepy tears and whatever you're going to sell for when let the narrative run out and he finally dies, whether it be 6 months or it was too close. It was like, most people would consider that a missed opportunity to capitalize. I mean, good opportunity to capitalize attention-wise, but to sell something? No, I think it was real.
No, I don't not to sell it, but maybe maybe some sort of artistic, not stunt, but somebody going away and then coming back would be the greatest.
It was a stunt
of thing that I think to achieve.
Bowie's
the guy
idea.
from
that was Bowie's idea.
Are you suggesting that Bowie faked his death and then was going to come back after the album was released?
Years later.
Shit?
Years later, who's supposed to do it? The guy who was in the guy in Taxi.
Andy Kaufman. That's what I just said.
Yeah. He's supposed to have. He's supposed to come back. He's supposed to have faked his
That's
death.
fucking Jesus.
What a great story. The whole Andy Kaufman story is an amazing
I'm not holding my
story.
breath for you.
But if he does come back, I was arguing with somebody in the store, and they said, "I don't think it'd be that big of a story." I go, "He's been gone for 30 years, and he was able to
Andy
pull."
Kaufman came?
Yes,
Dude, that would be the coolest thing
I don't
ever.
mean back from life. I just mean he pulled off the because that would be the greatest story ever if he came back from the dead. But I was talking about if he was able to go underground and never and not resurface and nobody find out, and he just comes back on a talk show.
That'd be amazing.
It would be.
Yeah.
I think it would be worldwide news, even though even the people who didn't know him.
Right, you'd be like, what the fuck is up with this guy?
So you'd have to
also
handle a
his
story.
shit
You'd have to
would
get a
not play
good
today.
publicist to handle it because you could miss a story like that. It's like in these days, you could miss Jesus Christ could come back and go, you picked the wrong day to come back. You didn't hire
Bowie
the
died.
listen. Who was your social media manager, Jesus? But the Bowie thing was an amazing. I mean, that's got to be the coolest exit I've ever seen anybody do in my whole life. He finds out he's dying. He goes, all right, I'm going to finish my work. And he starts the work and goes, well, what am I going to sing about? I go, I'm dying. That's what I'm singing about. So he writes these songs about dying. And then he has this thing that he delivers to his fans or people and it's like him taking you by the hand and leading you into the light as far as he can go. I'm dying now. Come with me. Come with me. I can't take you any further. It's insane. You listen to that record?
Yeah, it's spooky as fuck.
Really? And he shoots.
It's not one you rock out to. It's more like you're like, oh.
There's an old man that looks like an old man that looks like David Bowie. It is David Bowie going, I'm in danger. I'm dying. And then he runs in a little cupboard and closes the thing. That is like the coolest goddamn and classiest artistic exit I've ever seen. And from a pop star, unheard of.
Prior to that, what would have been the greatest way to go out? Like
G.G. Allen.
How did G.G. Allen die? He didn't actually kill himself,
He
right?
overdosed. He didn't kill himself.
That's a classic. That's an
But I mean,
accepted way.
they were putting beer cans on his head at the funeral. All kinds of weird stuff.
That's for throwing the shit out.
Do you listen to it, Q? Did you listen to Black Star?
Yeah, I did it before he died. Like when it came out.
Oh, you brought on the dead.
downloaded
Okay.
it. Yeah, because
It's it was very it sounded very like that Berlin stuff to me, but even more fucking out there.
This is like
and
the
just
sound
disturbing.
I listened to it before too, and I was like, "This sounds really creepy." I
Yeah.
mean, at first I was making fun of it because all the kind of like disco beats and stuff. But I was like, "It's fine. It sounded good. It had good sound." Tony Visconti produced it, and there were some really good melodies on it. So that's all I need with Bowie. And then when he died, I was like, that's it. That's what I was hearing. I was like, that's the sound of death. He made a record that sounded like exactly the way he was. I've never seen anybody pull that off.
You weren't on a flight at the time when you said that.
I screamed it at the airport. Death!
That's the sound of death. Metallica's another band that it's like you've got a rotating bassist, two dickheads, and Kirk Hammett, right? I mean, truly.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Another band that, like, you look at them when they're young, you know, when, like, say, Mustaine was even still in the band, and you're like, they look, I mean, they're kids, man. They're kids.
They were.
You know? And I guess the stories vary as to why Mustaine was booted, but, like...
I think it was a douche.
I mean, Megadeth became so popular that you can... Like, you take a band like Megadeth, or Metallica. Mm-hmm. Now, if Mustaine had stayed in, Metallica may still have been Metallica. But a band like Poison, before C.C. DeVille joined, and the other guy left, like, maybe they wouldn't have been Poison, right? Because C.C. has so much charisma and personality.
It depends on the manpower. It's like each band is different. You know why? You know? I mean, that's why. But sometimes it's interesting to see people try that stuff and fail or succeed. But Metallica, to me, was one of those things where obviously, like, most of those guys were pretty strong personalities. Mustaine was like, it was a no-brainer that he would leave. It was like, of course, they can't fit all those guys in one band. Somebody's head's going to get big.
Yeah. It seemed like Cliff Burton would have been like the rational one.
Yeah, he was the peace guy. He was the peace guy in the band, yeah. You know, I rode with the bus driver that drove that bus.
That's brave
where he
of
was
you.
killed in.
He's still driving a bus after that?
Still driving. Well,
I can't imagine he didn't get his license revoked.
Well, that was in a third world country there, right?
No, they're not pussies over there. They walk it off. It wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? Walk it off, Sven, or whatever his name was. Yeah, and we heard the story, and we were like, we rode around that bus for 2 days over hill and dale, just going, like, looking at each other like, I don't know, man. You know,
who's going to be the Cliff Burton?
But the thing that killed him wasn't the crash.
Didn't it crush him? It fell on him or something?
They went with the jaws of life, and the jaws of life kind of missed.
Oh, really?
It became the jaws of death. You know what I mean?
Shit. How the fuck?
I mean, that's fucking
them? They're not that big.
Sorry. What?
I've used those things many times. They're not even that big. They're like
I think it was like something like it pulled it up and it slipped and crushed him.
You used the
Pulled it
jaws
up,
of life
he fell out of the...
I'm saved.
in a
pulled it up.
legitimate situation where you had, where you like not training, but you had to like to get a person out of a
couldn't even
crumpled
tell
car.
you how many times.
Really?
Yeah.
And you
So
never
you're
had.
saying
It's you can't fuck it up. You're saying?
It seems hard to fuck it up because they're not. You're in vision of what you're doing, and there's a method. You're supposed to go in small, lift, go in small, lift, like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't fucking go in and try and do the whole thing in one thing.
It's not like you're picking up a fucking stuffed toy at the fucking arcade. Like you put a quarter in the machine.
No.
And you're like,
No,
That's the old jaws of life. Before they got him. I'm sorry, Cliff. Is that a leg?
and the thing weighs fucking 100 pounds, so it's not even like you could even move it around. You have to adjust. And
is it a one-man operation?
It's a one-man operation, but at its best, it's two men to get over to it, and then one man operating it.
See, you know what? Not knowing what it looks like, if someone said like
The
draw
jaws.
the jaws of death. Did I say it right?
Life.
Jaws of life.
Life walk. Life.
I would think you was like you pull up in a forklift.
No.
That like it was that huge.
It's a generator. It's a generator, a regular generator you could buy with hydraulic cables that go to this. It looks like a scissor. It just looks like a scissor that comes to a V. And then what you do is you go in. I mean, I'm talking. You go in half an inch for your first thing, and you spread it a little bit. Then you close it again. Then you put it into you spread a little bit more. You close it again, and you do that.
Do they make them for girls? Like non-industrial types?
Sounds like my old
I'm having trouble lately.
And in all seriousness, can you buy one if like on the private sector?
Absolutely positive you could. Yeah.
In case you come across it.
No, just
Don't worry, I got the jaws of life. I mean the jaws of life.
no, like that would be something you could have in the trunk, right? You should have one.
It's not. It's very heavy and it's not small, and you need the generator
And I'm
to
sure you need to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, Cliff Burton would tell you, like, please learn how to use it.
So you were like in the bus. You took the bus equivalent of like when Aerosmith was like, "We're not getting on that fucking plane," and Skinner's like, "Well, we are," and that's like,
Yeah, something similar. I mean, it felt like that to me. It definitely felt like a Skinnerd moment. But it was after the fact. It was lore. It was legend, you know. And I think the guy
Oh shit!
painted it as such. But
You could buy one for $13,000. Well,
Oh, it's that much?
that's just for the spreader.
there a
Not,
Are you
picture?
kidding me? That's like 3 dogs.
No, it's $13, my friend.
this is actually the exact one that I use. It's that.
Where do you buy it? Like at Home Depot? Like
Yeah, it's like a
Lowe's?
specialty. It's like a specialty.
Go to Home Depot. What's your jaws of Wi-Fi?
wow, there you go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It looks like something out of a side, like
That's it opened
Starship
up.
Troopers.
Like imagine those pinched shut. Like that's what
Did you
you
say
want.
Starship Troopers?
yeah, it looks like a weapon from
It's probably
Starship
about this
Troopers.
big.
Oh,
But it's super heavy, man. It's really heavy. But
Is it like riding a bike for you? Would you be able, like, if like someone was like,
I would have trouble now thinking hooking it up. I mean, it's hooked up already on the fire truck,
right?
so you don't have to worry about it. But if the hose, like hooking up the hoses now, I might need like a little quick refresher. But operating it, no problem. It's simple. It's got like a rotating disc on it, and when you turn the disc right, it opens, and when you turn left, it
It's that
closes.
simple.
What do you want?
With the fire department, you got to make everything idiot proof. That's rule number 1. Yeah, but it's cool.
Q, I had a fireman question for you.
All right.
I don't know if you saw this.
Is it true that firemen start the fires?
You know what? Do you remember in the 80s over at Sandy
That's what
Hook?
I heard.
Yeah. It was
Firepigs.
It was one of the Rangers. Yeah, there was arson after arson burning down over at Sandy Hook. And it
The
turned out to be
firemen
the
were mean
Rangers.
to me when I was a kid. The Red Bank guys used to like try to beat me up and stuff. They didn't like long hairs.
Really?
So we called them Firepigs.
Have you ever been called a fire pig? Q?
No, but we never beat
I
up
haven't
any
called him
children.
that to his face.
Yeah, they
That's
were
a great name for a band, right? Fire Pigs.
Yeah, they would get drunk and chase down the long hairs in town. Like,
That's weird.
long hair.
What year is that, though?
71.
Yeah, I think that's
was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Different
we
world.
didn't see that.
Fire Pigs are
That sort of.
We were like, dude, and without feeling, of course, any authority became pig. So if it was a park ranger, it was like, it's a park pig. Fire pig.
Look at that garbage pig.
Yeah, garbage pigs. Yeah, sure. Equal opportunity haters.
Look at that crossing pig.
Don't you fucking hate crossing guards now that you bring it up? I fucking can't
I
stand
don't
them.
trust them.
Well, I'll tell you what. Crossing guards have the biggest fucking ego because
There's an arrogance.
there is an arrogance about them where, like,
You mean these volunteer crossing
1
people,
hour in
like
the
these
morning.
ladies that come?
1 hour in the afternoon, they're your fucking boss. They're telling you to stop because somebody's crossing, or they're telling you to cross if you're crossing. The rest of the fucking day, you can do it by yourself. But for 2 hours a day, you need this fucking crossing guard in your life.
Like this
right.
coming from the man who abused his power when he was when you were a safety patrol member in 6th grade.
That's why I never became a crossing guard, man.
You had your belt taken away.
Yeah, I did. So.
Did you have the belt?
He had the little he
I
had
did
the
too.
belt.
I had it too. I did that too.
Me and Walt both.
did you
So much
lose it?
pressure, I couldn't take it.
Don't act like you got to keep yours. We were a team, man. We both got fucking busted. They were like, because, in Highlands there's that big hill. And I remember the guy, the director, Mr. Cadmus, his name was. He used to remember he would pound, he was a real fat guy, pound on the desk and point in your face, and his hand would shake, and his face would get all flushed, and you're like, this motherfucker's gonna have a heart attack. And
You're like a little kid.
yeah,
the
like
belt.
5th grade. And he comes up and he's like, it's been brought to my attention that you've been calling people mub and throwing them down the hill while on patrol. Now, mub is a very there's like 3 people on earth who know what mub is. It was this kid who, like, his father's name was Mub and his mother's name was Reenie. Like, mub became sort of like, not a derogatory term, but,
Sounds pretty derogatory to me.
yeah, I mean, feel free to use it. And so that was the end of our law enforcement career.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I was like,
I can't,
safety pigs.
it's almost shocking
Yeah, I don't want to be a safety pig.
to hear that you had played the role of an authority figure. It doesn't seem like it
I
just
don't want the
doesn't wash.
responsibility.
How long did you perform as a safety patrol?
Probably like, would they have a season? Maybe 1 year? Yeah, a season.
For me and Walt, it was
1
like
year.
a Stanford experiment. So we were zapping people and shit, like electrocuting kids.
I rubbed my light bulbs with fucking LSD and threw them at kids to see what kind of experiments.
Kindergartners freaking
Give it
out.
LSD, it's coming back.
Is it? Have you
I heard
taken
it's
LSD?
A long time ago, yeah.
Right.
I took a lot of it.
How'd you like it?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. When you're a kid, taking LSD, it's great.
But say you're like 48. You wouldn't recommend it?
You'll commit suicide.
Will you? I mean, I probably would have done that at 20.
Why the 48-year-old brain
You're a
can't
prisoner
handle
of
it?
your own baggage. You know, I mean,
You have too much baggage to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, LSD is a stretch. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but
Doesn't it make you more artistic?
Autistic is more like it. No.
I've heard the theory that like the era of music that you're I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't want to say claim. I apologize for that.
These bold claims.
I agree with you.
It'd be great in court.
It's the second time I've heard that today.
Let me reiterate. Right.
But like the era of music that we agree on may be the most creative and artistic ever.
Right.
A lot of people will say that it was due to the drugs they were taking, and today's artists are using different drugs like painkillers, and that's why they're not getting the same kind of like freeing of the mind, kind of like real like out there shit.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think anything I've done is as good as Pink Floyd.
You don't agree with
There's
that?
a romantic notion that the drugs, create creativity, but all they do is like give you a different way to look at things. You know what I mean? It's like
Can you describe one of your worst trips?
Oh yeah! Oh my God!
Oh yeah! This is as close as I'm ever going to get. Don't spare me any details.
You never did
Me
LSD.
too, after I heard about that bag of shit.
I don't. I've did maybe like 2 drugs my entire life.
Well,
one of them.
Trying to explain. It's not like what you'd see on Dragnet 68 or many.
What would that be like?
The best example of an LSD trip I've ever seen filmed is an Easy Rider, where they go to a graveyard and they're just kind of crying and stuff. It's really weird.
Crying is something that happens frequently.
Sure, you get very emotional, and
I think somebody spiked my drinks with LSD because I'm constantly crying at home.
How do you explain LSD? It's really hard.
What does
Is
it
it
look
different
like?
from mushrooms? It's a completely different.
No, it's like.
Because I've done mushrooms.
It's like insanely intense mushrooms.
Really?
Are mushrooms illegal?
Yeah.
Aren't they organic though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does somebody know to outlaw certain mushrooms though?
How do people know?
How are certain mushrooms illegal if they just grow naturally?
Just like
the man's on the job.
Marijuana is a weed, and you outlaw that, but you don't outlaw.
But don't mushrooms? You can't plant a seed for a mushroom. It doesn't have to grow from shit.
Yeah, you got to grow.
It doesn't have to be shit, but yeah.
Okay.
They can grow in the fucking trees and shit like that.
I think they're growing probably. They're
hallucinogenic.
They're like growing them to grow lights now. They probably have like.
Where did you come across mushrooms that you took them?
My cousin hooked me up.
And you knew that you could be doing something that could really fuck you over?
Freak out.
Well, no,
out. Yeah.
Mushrooms only last. It's really only
mild.
Like an hour and a half high, and then you're back, and it goes off like that. Like 1 second you're in it, and then the second you're just out of it.
LSD is like 10 to 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours.
That might be
absolutely.
And is it a pill LSD or is it a needle?
Well, it's just a composition. So you could put it in a pill, or they put it on pieces of paper, bladder acid, and
they used to put on stamps.
Sugar cubes. Yeah, they put on sugar
cubes.
Yeah, the little droplets.
Give it to a horse.
Yeah, it is something that's like it's so.
Did you ever dose a horse?
Insane. No, too much would take too much.
So what was the most vivid
horse pig?
I did have a plan as a stage show to inject a mule with heroin until it and that was just like when the band's name was Heroin Mule. It was like it'll be great. People by the end of the set, it'll be heaving and puking. And then animal rights got involved at the end of that.
If it's still alive, what year did you officially become Monster Magnet?
Like 88 or 89, I think. But we had a bunch of different names, and it was not really a band. It was like Tim Cronin and John McBain had a project called Dog of Mystery, which sometimes played live with other musicians, but basically it was just these two guys doing cassette tapes on cassette 4-track recorders, which were brand new technology. It was like, this kind of stuff. Multi-channel. It allowed you to record at home. So the studio thing, you didn't have to do the studio.
They eventually became the Ribeye Brothers, right?
Yeah, and then eventually that became a long way down the line. But and I was doing a thing called Love Monster, which was the same thing on a 4-track, doing my own thing. And then they asked me to join Dog and Mystery for a couple of live shows. And then out of that, decided to do an offshoot and had a bunch of different names like Heroin Mule and Madness is the Mongoose. A lot of Marvel titles, Wrath of the Bull God, King Fuzz, Acid Reich. Just, anything that sounded good. And then took a lot of Love Monster songs from my thing and started making cassette tapes and sending them to record companies with different names on them. Because I'd send a cassette tape to a record company and they go, no, they don't want that. And I was like, well, I'm not going to write a bunch of new songs. I'll just change the band name.
That's so fucking
Just
smart.
Yeah, just
Did it ever
new
work?
covers.
Did you ever
It
get
worked.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, finally they're like, we love it. And I was like, you asshole.
You took a lot.
Lying. Lying,
You take inspiration from comics. Did you ever have a band named Two Annoying Dickhead Customers? 'Cause I remember going to Fantasy Zone with Kevin Walt, and I remember them being like, no, let me bag it here. And you always had a guitar. Remember, you always had a guitar. You're always strumming, always playing and
that's
stuff.
where I was writing all that stuff.
Yeah.
I would start songs in there. I thought that was a great job. That was a really great job. No, I tried to keep it away. I didn't want the slice of that life. I didn't want to write about that life. I was writing about my life previous to that.
Yeah, like they didn't want anyone to touch them for fear like a corner would bend.
Well, but they pay their money. I know it, but as Walt could tell you, after a while, it's like you start to go like, look. There's more things in life besides this, you goddamn mutant. Man, I'll slap to your face. The overwhelming urge to take a pristine copy of any high dollar comic book and just rip it slowly up in their face and just laugh, like to watch the look of disappointment come over them. It's terrible.
And that's
why I got out.
If it came out that week, it could be like a $25 book immediately, right?
Yeah, there was more speculation then, I think.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That was a crazy time. A lot of money.
Do you read Comics Weekly, Walt, or is it really kind of like
Sure.
past you?
Yeah, there are certain things I still read.
Like what are? Oh, okay.
Walt keeps it alive.
If you didn't read comics, why wouldn't you admit that you don't read comics? If you didn't,
I didn't read comics. Yeah. Well, because you got to guess that would be like saying like if you were if there's new procedures to save a life, and
they're about the same.
Yeah, I know.
And the fireman's
Sounds about right.
And the fireman's like, I got that old method of doing it. I don't need to learn the new stuff.
That's new model that Jaws of Life, whatever the fuck it's called. Whatever.
I got a Jaws of Life from '86. It works just fine.
It's a lot to keep up with, though.
Sure, it's a commitment.
One time I was driving the fire truck, and they forgot to lock the doors where the Jaws of Life were, and I made a turn, and the fucking generator and the Jaws came flying out at like 30 miles per hour and just fucking slammed into a parked car and like just rolled down the street.
Jaws of death,
It was like
once again.
fucking crazy. So I hit the rig, and I'm like, tell me you fucking assholes didn't forget to fucking lock the goddamn thing.
Wasn't me, boss.
Yeah,
So was it broken?
Oh, dude, it was destroyed. The car was destroyed. The fucking thing was destroyed. Everything was destroyed.
If it would have killed somebody, the headline would have been so great. Jaws of death. Jaws of life caused death.
Yeah, that was ironic.
I texted with my brother today a little bit. I have two brothers. Eric, who lives out in California. He's a doctor. Darren, who lives here in Jersey. And Eric texted me. And he said, Shirley, his wife, Ethan, his son, who's I guess probably about 10 or 11, and I have a new number. It calls all of their cell phones simultaneously in case you have a hard time getting in touch with one of us.
Good God.
My mother says, okay. And then, okay, this should alleviate the non-response that we get from Shirley, which I thought was from Eric again. And I said, what about when you want to have gay brother incest phone sex and you text me to have Darren call you? Tell him not the new number, right? And then Eric says, Shirley's mother got that text. And that's when I realized it wasn't only to me and Pam, it was to 9 other people. So he said, Shirley's mother got that text. And I just wrote back, who is this? And then...
You tried to play it off.
I tried to play it off. Somebody else wrote, and this is Shirley's sister. I am wondering who this is myself. It better not be you, Nick, who is her husband.
Why, you're just stirring it up.
Eric goes, this will be my last family group text.
You told me you would never do that again, Nick. Like, what if like Nick had some sort of like weird shit, like some really weird shit going on in his life that he promised his wife he would never indulge in again?
Well, he's in trouble because the wife then goes, now that I think about it wasn't Nick. And I wrote, no, I confess it's me, Nick. I deserve the consequences.
Wow.
And that was it.
And this went down in what, like 10 minutes? This is like a 10 minute.
Yeah, it was like that.
That's
Like,
awesome.
why does your brother even involve you in a group text like that? He deserves everything that happens to him, right?
I agree. I mean,
If he's going to put you in the same virtual room as his mother-in-law or whoever that is, or that he doesn't want you to be dealing with, he shouldn't put you in there then.
Yeah. I mean, I might have been expected
his
to
fault.
look
it's
at
like-
the group text and understand there are 9 other
so
people.
did he just? So he told you as he was in. So you were included as he told you. So he didn't give you like a heads up. You were just in.
I was just in, and it said group MMS, but I thought it was just to me and my
See,
mother
that
because I
stuff
just
is-
glanced.
that's just
and
too-
then
that's
it's
too much
like
for
the sister, the brother-in-law, this one.
That's too much connection, man.
I know.
Too much connection.
You're right. He brought it on himself.
Now you're back into the real world.
Imagine Walt on LSD.
No, I don't think you can
Can
imagine
you
it.
imagine that? It's insane.
Even imagining it is too close.
I think
to
the thing
LSD.
about LSD that I just like the concept so much because it's just so bizarre. And so there's only one point in history where that could have happened, and that's the 60s.
What made you stop?
I want to save my brain. You don't learn from it. It's too severe. You know, it's like an adventure. You take an adventure. It's like, I'm sure people, it's like a psychological adventure.
Well,
And it's only something you could do responsibly when irresponsibly, you don't know any better. So you're like, yeah, I could take it. Mm-hmm. When I think about it, the more and more I think about it, even back then, because I was terrified of it, but I wanted to do it because it was in the news. It was everything. It was like, people are taking this drug and they think they can fly and they're finding God. And it was like, well, that's not heroin. This is fucking cool. This is like, you see colors. I would see stuff like, watch the woods just move in front of me. The colors would go from green to red to green to red. And I'd put my hands out in front of me and there'd be trails, like special effects, like internal special effects. Not only that, but you're like, what it does is it shuts off certain ways that your mind perceives things and forces the funnels that are open to perceive things to get overloaded. And it's pure distortion, really. I don't know why these guys ever thought it would be a mind-opening experience. It's just a way of, it's like when you change your eyes or press on your eyes and you see colors and stuff.
See stars.
Yeah, but this is like in your actual
Poor man's LSD.
Yeah, poor man's LSD. Like, I'm seeing it, dude.
You did that too?
Oh yeah. Doesn't every kid do that? Lay in your bed and press on your eyelids and go, "Holy shit, this is cool."
I know.
You did it.
Never did that?
You're too busy with your thumb up.
I'll do
your
it
ass.
tonight. Yeah, I mean, when I get 2 thumbs up your ass,
cool.
it's way
I don't know if
better.
does it work at this stage of our lives because I haven't done it since I was little. Like,
Yeah.
Do it tonight. Freak your wife out.
Right now.
Could wake up with 2 black eyes.
But that's
Like they're totally blood red.
it's so funny, the whole acid thing. It's so funny. It's scary too. That there was one point where a part of a generation of kids would choose to like go out there. It's not like any other drug. It's not like, yeah, man, let's get drunk and stuff. This is like, I'm going to go out there and find something. It's so cool.
How much did an LSD cost back then?
Like $1.50.
$1.50. Wow.
Man, your mind for $1.50, man.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
fucking
just
20 bucks today.
completely.
And
yeah.
it's just chemicals, right? So how do you make LSD? What's it made out of?
I don't know.
It was refined from a rye seed fungus. And it turns out that the first really super hallucinogenic thing that affected lots of people was a fungus that grew on rye seeds right before the dark ages of in Europe. And a lot of people believe that that's right around that time is when people started coming up with stuff like witches and in stories. And They really
You're
think
talking about
that.
rye seed, like that's on rye bread?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
so is
they
that why
think
that people say, like, if you can't take a drug test if you had poppy seeds?
Somewhat, except the poppy is like an opiate.
Or hydromorphone.
It's an opiate. Yeah,
That's in my experience.
They think that because of all this rye fungus stuff, which later on became a synthesis part of a chemical thing for LSD, actually created mass hysteria in Europe because the rye seeds and the rye bread had this fungus that was like ultra powerful hallucinogenic, so people were tripping. And that's when witches and demons started coming into like all this literature because people unknowingly tripping their balls off. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, I've read the same, that for artists or people who are visual, like, it expands their universe, but then you also have guys like Charles Manson and the family who, like, it worked.
Well, Manson wasn't Manson wasn't an acid guy himself. He just kept his people doped up on acid and just come filling them shit. But
yeah, like I read like 300 hits some of these people have taken. That seems like a lot, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah. Hunter S. Thompson was big on it. Like,
Thompson was big on acid. And I love Thompson. And that's what I was a big Thompson fan when I was a kid. I mean, he was actively writing at the time. So I'd buy Rolling Stone. I was like 14 years old, and I'd buy the new Rolling Stone, and it would be the next chapter of Fear and Loathing. Before they published the book, they published it in chapters. And I would read that. And you're a 14-year-old kid reading Hunter S. Thompson. You're like, I want to be like that guy. Because he wasn't a hippie. It wasn't peace and love. This guy was like,
he was crazy.
Yeah, like driving around in a car. I'll rip your lungs out. This was insane. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
Did you? We just barely missed that wave of the Quaalude. So did you take Quaalude?
Yeah, Quaalude's unbelievable. I can't believe anybody survived. Survived them. They're like the most powerful, crazily powerful downer you could possibly imagine. But for some reason, the synthesis of the drug allowed the human body to remain awake and somewhat cognizant while being, it's just so.
It's like someone's going to perform surgery on you if you took a Quaalude?
You're like a Twilight kind of state.
It was awful.
Oh, you didn't like it?
Terrible drug. No, I didn't like to be.
What about that stuff that Michael Jackson was addicted to? Did you ever try that?
No.
Have you ever anesthetized yourself?
No, you know that stuff? Like, I forget what it's called.
Like
some massive stuff. A buddy of mine had that stuff because he went for surgery and they gave it to him and he said it was unbelievable.
How do you get that, though? Like, that must be the hardest drug to get, right?
I'm asking for a friend.
I think you have to actually buy it. You can't buy the drug. You have to buy the doctor.
Oh, okay.
And that's what Jackson did. He bought a doctor.
So what drug would you recommend people take?
None.
None?
No, I mean, those days are over. The drug days are over. There's too much information now. It's
drug days are over.
Yeah, drug days just ended for me like 2 weeks ago.
I don't know. Whatever you want, but just do it early. Yeah. Don't wait.
Right.
Do it when you're
like
a kid.
40.
Because what's the cutoff?
A young man.
The cutoff?
Like, what's the ages? You're too old to do drugs. Give it up. Hang it up.
21, 22.
You want to be. What? 20? What?
21,
20? Oh, wow. That's...
You want to be.
Well, I'm just saying, for me personally, every time I do drugs, I wind up not working. I don't create stuff. I'm too busy being high. It's like I like to read. I like to remember what I do. It's like
you're like Flanagan. You're high on life.
Well, it's a matter of control, I think. And when I used to
find that with you too?
What?
You just you don't want to ever not be in control.
I'm terrified of not having control of what.
I think that's a reasonable consideration.
What's it called? Faculties.
Faculties. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm terrified that I won't be in control of how I think. Or my actions.
He wakes up with a boner with blood all over.
The thing about drugs is there's some people.
St. Joseph.
Some people can handle it and some people can't. I can't. I mean, I did when I was a kid, and I gave it up because I was just naturally got bored because I didn't learn anything and it was confusing the issue. And I stopped drinking too because it was like, I'm just sick of it. And then, thinking you're out of the woods. When I was in my late 40s, I got super addicted to almost life-ending, career-ruining anti-anxiety pills.
Like benzos?
benzos, super benzos, prescribed to me by a doctor.
What does that do? When you take them, what does it do for you?
Well, he gave it to me for sleep because he gave me Ambien. This is when Ambien was first started. This was a while ago now. And I was like, this is pussy stuff. I was a live wire. I was completely straight. I'm completely straight, right?
I agree with you. Like, it's supposedly you take it, and if you don't fall asleep in 15 minutes, you start hallucinating and going crazy. I never found that to be the case. I
was like, I am over the top excited. I was healthy as a horse. I'm touring the world, but the only thing that I couldn't control was my voice. I would just talk and talk and talk. I would tour everywhere. And I was healthy, but I was like, blah, 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 chasing girls around and doing all this stuff. I just couldn't slow down. And I was like, I need to go to sleep, and I want to go to sleep when I want to. And I went to a doctor right over there in Middletown, and he's like, I got just this thing for you. This is what they give to airplane pilots. When they have to go down in an hour, they go right down. Temazepam, this super concentrated benzo that comes on in 15 minutes. Not the benzo like a what are we talking about? Xanax. This is like super Xanax that comes right on. It's like short lasting 7 hours. And I was out. But I was so healthy and so physically healthy and so like, I know what I want to do, that I took them for years and they worked just fine until one day my body just said, more, please. Take a little more. And then I got cut off because the guy was actually turned out to be a crook. Yeah. Turned out to be a crook. And he willingly gave me the stuff that you're only supposed to give people for 3 weeks. I took it for like 8 years. I tried to use it as a tool, not as a mind thing. And just drugs, that's like, if you could do without it, you're way better off. You're the smartest guy in the room if you don't do drugs. You always are.
Well, look at you, Walt.
Taste the music.
Yeah.
Taste
lack of drugs.
But, except for the psychedelics, which I would totally recommend to do for anyone. Just one time or two times.
Past the cutoff date, though.
Yeah, you want to be.
Well, no, there's another.
Is there another way?
Yeah. It's like when your kids grow up. When your kids grow up.
Drop acid and shout at them.
Then you and your wife get in a plane and go to Hawaii. And go out there and eat a shit ton of mushrooms and watch a fucking volcano blow, dude. It's like I can think of that. I could think of myself like being 70 years old and going, there's an active volcano off the coast of Burma. Secure the mushrooms, and then taking the trip to watch an active volcano while tripping. Because at that point, hopefully, I won't have that much baggage of normal life. It's all about the baggage you have. That's why I think the 21st century is not a great time for psychedelics, because you're such a victim. You're a prisoner of your own images in your head and what you think up. And now we're so bombarded with all this stuff, the bad and the good.
I kind of agree with you. I had like a bum knee and I started taking Percocet, which graduated to Roxy. And like my doctor, I'd never been addicted to anything, so I didn't know. I knew it was addictive, but I was like, well, I never got addicted to anything else, so why would this be any different? But
Same with me, man.
You know what? So 5 years later, I got a bad habit and all this other shit. I started on Suboxone, like the opiate blocker, and I just ended that a couple of weeks ago. The first 2 weeks really sucked, but now it's totally fine.
The pills will take a whole chunk out of your life. It's like, what the hell?
It sure does. But I did ask myself the other day, I was like, am I going to go the rest of my life without ever taking drugs again? And I think the answer is probably no.
Yeah.
Maybe not hard shit.
Like weed?
Whatever
Are you talking
happened.
about like weed or?
Weed, or like I always wanted to try Molly. Like Molly or ecstasy,
Overrated.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I know it. Like,
you never know what you get.
Serotonin for like 3 days or something.
Last time I was in Vegas, a bunch of the people out of there, they all took Molly. I didn't take it because it doesn't seem like the thing. They seem to be having a great time. They seem to be having fun.
I took it.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're predisposed to depression, you're just constantly looking for something. Because
you absolutely are, and you have to be very careful, because if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Because now that I'm off the Suboxone,
you're so happy.
But the anxiety all day, the energy, like I'm going to join a boxing club because I need to do something.
Well, I was just about to say.
Yeah, like
the answer to a balanced head has always been diet and exercise. It doesn't sound like fun. You get the right balance of diet and exercise. I mean, you don't have to kill yourself, and you'd be surprised on how much better you feel. It's just like all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, wasn't I feeling worse? It's like, what happened? And that's the way it is. It's just a balance.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
not
I just
as
walk
fun
around the
as
house
taking
all day wanting to punch shit, so I may as well just join the gym or something.
Punch shit.
Yeah, punch shit, people,
Oh,
my
yeah.
kid, whatever.
I wish I could do drugs like a champ.
What'd you say, Sage?
I wish I could do drugs like a champ. It seems like so much fun. But, that stuff has always been bullshit. When was the last time, such a romanticized notion to have a life of drug taking and everything works out okay? There's no stories like that. There's not a story out there where somebody was like, yeah, I just partied my whole life and everything was cool. That's all train wrecks. It's a romanticized notion that people can get away with, like, be both smart, successful, happy, and love while on fucking drugs. No way. It never happens.
I wondered that about meth. Like, who has ever read the meth success story? That's like, it totally fucking worked out for them. Like, there's not one meth success story, I don't think. Unless you're manufacturing it. So.
But I love the notion of it because it's such a beloved notion that somebody can get away with doing drugs. I think it's like everyone wants to believe that somebody has some sort of shortcut to happiness. Like, I did it. Or it's like a big fuck you to the man. Like, yeah, fucking, hookers and blow. Fuck you, hookers and blow. Like, I did it. I found a way to, like, have women like me and do as much drugs. Hookers and blow.
I'll give you like hookers.
Dumb.
What else we got? Well, anything?
Yeah, that's about it, right?
Oh man, I don't want it to end.
know,
Dave, I love when
too.
you're on, man. It's
I love
always,
being on.
It's always
This is like
such
an
a blast.
audible LSD trip, maybe for some listeners
Yeah.
who didn't get it. You never got a chance to. Maybe they're over the cutoff, 22. They can listen to this and hear.
Plug their butts
Well,
in.
can I go on record here saying I in no way endorsing taking LSD. I was like, for the love of God, don't get that in your head. Don't take it. It's emotional Russian roulette. No. Acid. Bad.
It reminds me. I'm thinking about retooling Polish Russian roulette. Remember, I was going to.
What's Polish Russian roulette?
It's a game I was coming up with.
You get a chance to insult somebody else.
Point the gun at the other guy.
We have commercials.
You have a question?
Yeah, we're sponsored, Dave.
Wait.
We're bona
You said
fide.
you've taken 2 drugs in your life.
Yeah.
What 2 drugs? I thought you hadn't done anything.
I smoked a joint when I was in high school, obviously, and there was on my graduation night, somebody, one of my friends said, "Here, this is had Coke," he said, and it was my graduation night, so I did it. But I felt absolutely nothing, no. Really?
Really?
Wow. Good for you.
Christ.
Why, when you said
Whoa. Well, you got to count roofies.
So you never smoked a joint?
no, that's it. That's the only drug I've ever done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm talking about. I did it. So while I'm 18, and probably both at 18 years in. It's been since 18 since I have.
I can also say he's lying because I've personally done beer with him as well.
Oh, beer? I don't. I haven't.
Here's done, dude.
Yeah.
I did Coke once.
Alcohol's a drug. I mean, don't make any mistake. It's the same thing.
The cocaine was so good. It was literally like the best feeling I've ever had in my life. It was so good that I was like,
if it's too good to be true, it means it's too good to be true.
I said, I'll never do it again.
Yeah,
I said, this is too fucking good.
Yeah, you're a smart guy.
Yeah,
You realize
shut
this
it
is not,
down.
this is, this
I'll always
is
have
magic.
that memory. It was a great night. It was like, this is fucking, oh my God. I can do anything at any time.
You can see why these guys
Yeah.
start drinking their own Kool-Aid. When you have a steady supply of that and you could fit it into your your party, and you have a bunch of like people who do it at the same time, the bigger you get and the more successful you get, the more you do it, because it's like we all do it. I mean, cocaine at its peak, and it's really back now. I mean, it's back. But at its peak in the 80s and stuff, all those Wall Street guys, they were all doing it.
Yeah.
They're like, I have the finest, and I am a god. Totally.
Crazy.
Have you ever felt like anything like that, like such euphoria?
No, it was. It's sad to say, but it was one of the best feelings of my life.
That's why it's so popular.
But even in the middle of it, I was like, I can never do this again.
Like, because you're smart.
I'll chase this dragon down the hole.
It's followed by mind-numbing.
I must
depression.
not have done it then. It must not have been real because after I did it, I felt nothing. No difference. I was always waiting for like, well, when's this going to happen? What's going to happen? And then eventually nothing happened.
Like, just fucking.
You did shitty coke.
Fucking like baby laxatives. What the fuck does he know?
Yeah.
No, because I remember it was the two dudes I was with. Somebody bumped into him that was in the room. And he basically wanted to, was freaking out because he said he thought he was going to drop it. So he must have thought it was real.
Right.
Or else he wouldn't have reacted like he was a stark raving, frothing at the mouth. He was going to kill somebody because
he might have been coked out already.
Yeah. All right. MeUndies.
Oh, MeUndies. Dave, do you wear MeUndies? You must, right? You're a fucking rich rock star.
Is this the shill?
You only wear the
part where you
finest
start shilling stuff?
underwear.
Yeah. Your underwear sponsor? You got proud of yourself?
We sell underpants.
Oh, wait a minute.
I wear what you wear. I got undies. They're good.
Actually, I'm wrong. It's not MeUndies this week.
It's not? What do you think, we're assholes? Of course it's not underwear.
I'm free balling right now, my friend.
That's what you do, huh?
I'm a free baller.
Does that mean that you have to wash your
I wear tight jeans.
Your jeans? You have to wash them more often because of that. Yeah,
I got a new pair of jeans for every day.
Really? Oh, because I'll go like a week and a half, possibly 2 months without washing my jeans. Yeah.
I didn't want to admit that, but it works out just.
Quinn obviously
I'm
did.
very clean. I'm very clean.
There's two types of guys out there. Let's see which type you are. Guys who love shopping for clothes but are short on time, and those who hate it either way.
I hate it either way,
Yeah,
unless it's like a leather jacket.
And
or
we
something.
got something. Trunk Club. They're going to get your own personal stylist.
Yeah, you like to dress professionally, like a button-down Wall Street type.
And if you go to trunkclub.com/TESD, type in your measurements, share your likes and dislikes, you get your own personal stylist. They'll pick out your clothes from over 80 top brands and ship them right to your front door.
Can you imagine that, Dave? All these years, like an asshole, you've been dressing yourself. Now you can go to Trunk Club.
Sit here and listen to you guys fucking pour it out. Why don't you just give each other a fucking blowjob?
We gotta pay the bills, man.
We found that there's no monetary benefit to that. Yeah. After we're done, just a horrible taste in our mouth.
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
This one's not nearly the horrible taste.
I gotta say, like seriously, this underwear thing you guys are onto, it's fucking awesome. And what's this trunk thing? Say that again.
It's a club, a virtual club where they send you clothes.
They send me. They'll make up their mind for me, and they
No. You tell them what you like. They're not making up your mind. Yeah, they're basing all their picks off of your life.
I'll surrender myself totally.
Like, you're going to tell somebody like, "Hey,
skivvy me, bitch.
Here's what I like," and they're going to be like, "Dave, don't give it another thought."
Yeah, I don't want to give.
In 2 days.
I don't want to give another. That's my whole thing. I don't want to give a thought. I'm done giving thoughts. I'll give it over to McUndies or whatever the hell.
Trunk Club.
Right.
You're going to be walking down Broad Street with a fucking cane and top hat at your finery.
Feeling good.
Oh, my God. You're going to be the toast of the town.
What's the name again?
Get started today at trunkclub.com/TESD.
Don't forget to tell me you want a monocle.
I want a monocle. I have a monocle.
Right, the last one
They need a theme song for that? Trunk Club.
Is FanDuel. FanDuel's back.
Okay, this you can get into, Dave.
Do you play any kind of
gambling in sports?
Do you have any fantasy leagues you're involved in, Dave?
Bullshit low-rent gambling in sports.
Say that again, Walt.
Do you dabble in any fantasy sports?
Fantasy sports. Of course I do.
Have you ever dreamed of coming in third to last place?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And, well, that's the big thing right now. You go on, you're actually managing your own team.
I know, it's fucking great. It's like being a real guy.
Imagine Dave opening a $10 fucking account.
Check it out. They gave me $5 free to bet with. Have you ever been a sports guy? Have you ever liked sports?
Sports are for suckers. Like the Army. The Army for suckers. Sports, suckers. The opiate.
Why so? Why
Sport
sports?
pigs, Army pigs. They're all
Well,
the same.
because, the joy
They're a
of...
diversion.
God.
Obviously.
They're for
and
guys,
they're-
like guys who just want, they're like scared of LSD. Maybe they're scared of rap. Maybe that's why they like
Yeah,
hockey
I
so
tried
much.
to like. I tried to like the sports. I tried.
fucking right.
What is this crap? You ever score a touchdown on LSD? I doubt it.
Who raps their way to a home run?
Although you got to give props for Doc Ellis,
Pitching a no-hitter on LSD.
no hitter on acid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the sports thing is like it's cool, I guess. But it's like, how many times can you watch these guys do the same thing?
A lot of times, evidently.
Every game is different. You don't know the outcome. It's not preordained. It's like every night history
maybe
can
I'm
be
gay.
made.
I don't know. Even as a kid, I was like, I like to play it, and then they beat me up, and I didn't like it, and I got beat up, and then I watched it, and it was cool. I got excited,
Watch other kids get beat up.
But it became like, tell me when it's good, and then I would just watch the playoffs. And then I was like, well, tell me when it's better than that. And I would just watch like the Super Bowl or the championships. And then eventually it was like, well, what else is on? The Wizard of Oz is on. Click.
Well, if you're
Why aren't you watching the Super Bowl? Because I Covered the Waterfront is on Channel 9, and I just went away.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, then you have nothing invested if you're only watching the big games, right? Well,
Yeah, no, I didn't sit it out. I didn't sit in the
You gotta be a
bullpen or in the
diehard,
seats
like
or.
Somehow they got to tap into a fantasy league of for dead actors and actresses.
I'm sure they will.
my pick is Marlon Brando this week.
But more importantly, is there any, can I make if I involved in this fantasy football league stuff, sports league, can I make money off this?
Actually, it's not really about making money. It's about having fun.
Fellowship.
It's about interacting, and it's about maybe possibly winning a Tell 'em Steve Dave patch.
Well, that's better than
I mean,
money.
that's not a guarantee, but
It's not a guarantee.
Possibly. Keyword.
But if you go to FanDuel.com and type in the code TSD this Sunday, you join the Tell 'em Steve Dave League. And if you come in first place this week, last week it was last place.
Right.
But then FanDuel actually responded to me
FanDuel.
telling me that people were picking inactive players, which is so.
and they were like, shit.
I know, and I give props to the listeners who are smart enough to realize how to circumvent the contest to try to win that patch.
Right.
But we're trying to make sure that you pick active players.
And Dave, I know what you're thinking. This is no Costa Rican wire room betting parlor, man. This is the real deal.
I
So
like
if you-
the idea of the Costa Rican wire room.
Last week we rewarded we rewarded failure. This week we're rewarding a championship. If you come in first place, this time you get the patch.
And how long do you think it takes to do all this, to set up your league? And
Well, it's this Sunday. You got to do it. You got to do it Sunday or this Sunday, and
I
then
mean, physically, how long does it take? Like less than 20
It
minutes?
depends on how much effort you want to put in, how much homework you want to put into the players you're
Or
picking.
you might already know.
You might already
know,
You
man.
might already know.
And by late Sunday night, you're going to know who won. And then if you came in first place, you shoot me proof of that you were in first place, and I'll send you out a patch. You send it to KMEWES2, KMEWES2. 2 players won last week, the patch,
At gmail.com, by the way.
at gmail.com. And this week, who knows? We're giving out another patch.
2 patches given away last week. Dave.
It's better than money.
It's insane. It's insane, the prizes that are flying out.
I
the
can't
store.
believe what I'm seeing here, Tony. How long has I coming into seeing Walt shopping, shopping for comics, and he's running a comic store. Now I see this like huckster with with a headset on, like he's like Leonardo DiCaprio on The Wolf of Wall Street over here. Wow.
Got to keep the electricity for the mics.
No, I hear you.
Have you never had a corporate sponsorship? No one ever was. You must, right?
No.
The Undies never contacted
I
you?
didn't do that stuff. I didn't like it. I thought it was not cool. I mean, I would do it if. What did I do?
This is a roundabout way of calling us sellouts, right?
No, not at all. No, I'm a fool for not doing it. I didn't think it fit the image of the band.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was good.
It's much more important, the image.
But
for a rock.
Nobody cares. You guys are modern guys. You guys are 21st century people. I'm a 20th century person. We were talking about before outside. I never did it because I couldn't get the stuff that I thought would be proper. I mean, if I could sponsor Apple or Marlboro cigarettes, that would be real for me. I smoke. Therefore, but the stuff that was offered was kind of weird. So I was like, I'll try to make the money some other way.
What's your feeling on beer cozies? Because I have an idea for a beer cozy. I think we're going to go with
Sure, I'll merchandise anything. Yeah. Beer cozies are go.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. Go to FanDuel.com, put in the TSD code, and play Sunday. And that league is at FanDuel.com/TSD. First place wins this week.
Sweet.
Oh, we had one more thing we were going to say. We're going to change the password every month. For
Oh, that's right. Yes, if you not every month, every show, the password's going to change. If you come into the store and you want a whoa 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 it's okay patch.
Right.
Last week it was whoa 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 it's okay.
Yeah.
Now to make sure you're currently listening, you're up to date, and you're Tell 'em Steve Dave. What's the new password, Q?
Monster Love.
There you go.
Monster Love. Yeah. Okay. That password is in effect until the next Tell 'em Steve Dave drops. Then
okay.
What's it again?
Monster Love.
Monster Love. Okay. So you had a song called Love Monster, didn't you?
I had a band called Love Monster. Yeah.
But I had
and the song, yes,
track, yeah,
and the accompanying track.
You've got to find that Galactus Christmas song.
I know Christmas with Galactus, and I had my ex-wife was on it, and she was like played the little kid like, Mr. Galactus, could we? It's like, you puny human insect. So it's me screaming through. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I got to find it. What inspired me to do that? I don't know.
The LSD.
LSD. Residual. No, I did all Monster Matter completely straight. I was, completely straight.
Straight edge?
Yeah, like no drugs at all. No drugs, no beer, no nothing. All Monster Man, all that pro-drug stuff, that was just an actual, active.
You kind of dropped a little tidbit of that last year. I asked you about Christmas. Remember, Tim asked.
Yes.
I wanted to just mention that was the hardest thing I've ever had to probably do.
Ask me to do.
Well, actually, I went over and talked to Tim about it after you asked him initially. I didn't know how. I would always wondered if you were like, I just didn't want to insult you asking you to come on and sing a song on the.
Like do an unplugged.
For God's sake, no! You can ask anything.
We can pay you in the undies.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe you could teach me about this fantasy football stuff you guys seem so happy with.
But
I want to learn.
Me asking was definitely like I struggled with that like
more than asking your wife to marry you.
You never have to be embarrassed. Are you kidding me? Look at.
Yeah. I mean, look at me. I'm showing underwear and
well, I would just
online
laugh.
gambling.
Believe me, you couldn't get ridiculous. I would just laugh if I didn't. It would be funny. I would never be insulted.
All right.
Believe me, I've been insulted in ways you could never even imagine. So.
Great one, Dave.
Dave, I just got to show you one more thing.
Yeah.
This is how embarrassed Walt can get at times. You're standing 10 feet away from us, and he texts me, want to ask him to come on, Tell 'em Steve Dave tomorrow. How long have you known the guy?
I wasn't sure how he felt about the invite to sing the song, so I wasn't sure what, if he asked him to come on.
He's like, he might still be sore about that.
All right. Tell him, Steve Dave.
Attention with
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.